part base. V'lachein, and therefore, listen what he says, Iker hiskabrus hayetzahara hi b'nekudazu. When I learned this, I was like, wow. Are you saying wow? I hope you're saying wow. Therefore, he says, the main focus of the Yetzirah is in this. What? I thought the main focus of the Yetzirah would be to make me do sins. I thought the main focus of the Yetzirah would get me to not do mitzvahs. He says, that's true. But the main focus is to take out this ha'aras hadas from your brain, so that even when you do a mitzvah, you're doing it on a tiny level. And it's interesting, we all have this, right? Sometimes we think to ourselves, sometimes I think to myself, right? I'm davening to Hashem, Melech Malchei Amlachim, but yet I'm like 5% there, I'm 10% there. How much? I mean, it's like you're already doing it. It's like you see guys in shul and you're like, I don't know how many times they do Slach Lanu, but you know, and I'm judging them, I'm no better. But I'm like, you're here. You're talking to God. You also have to like look cool. You also have to like, you know, be friendly. It's like you're already doing it. We don't think about what we're doing. If we went to shul and when we davened, we said, I'm praying, I'm talking to God. And my das level of hakaras habayre, of recognizing God, is 100 or 50 even, right? My davening is different. Nobody has to tell me, don't talk in shul. I'm connected. I'm talking to God. I'm in God's house. So because we're born into it, or we get used to it, I'll never forget, I had a home sweet home boy, my first boy that I took off the streets. I had a schus to help him. And he didn't daven for years. He didn't put on tefillin for years. And then all of a sudden, became frum. He started davening. The first time he put on tefillin, he stood there. I was in the back of the shul, and he stood there like a Baal Tshuva, even though he grew up from till he was 13, and he stood there with his siddur. I gave him an ARTSCROLL or a Matsuda, whatever it was, with English, and he just said Shema, and he was fully there. Because he never did this for years, and he wanted to do this. It wasn't just Amen. This was where he was at. He wanted this, and he did Shema. And it took him a long time. It was over 20 minutes for sure, maybe even a half hour. He turns to me and he tells me, "Avi, this stuff is great." How many of us feel that way? So we get used to it. So part of getting used to it is a darkness, a cloud comes over us. When we walk into the shul, we don't take off our shoes like different religions. We don't have like a ceremony. So we just walk into shul. So like we're in shul. So we're davening, middle of talking. You're talking to Hashem. Oh yeah, it's hard. We get it. But we're talking about if we can fix that, it's a different level. I remember it was about 2 years after that boy came. He was already frum. He got married. Kedas Moshe Yisrael. He tells me, Avi, I'm not about tshuva anymore. I'm regular frum. I talk during davening. Funny, sad, a little funny, very sad. He got so, it wasn't fresh anymore. He got so used to it, so his hakaras habayre, his das level went down. It's a challenge always, shachris, mincha, mar. It is a challenge. But it's meant to transform us. We're meant to feel like we're in a cone and we're connected up. We're in a different planet. We're connecting to Hashem. And how much of that do we really have? So he says that's the main focus of the Yetzirah. The main focus, this is unbelievable. The main focus, ask your friends, go tonight, ask your friends, tomorrow in shul. Say, what's the main focus of Yetzirah? To make me do sin. To stop me from doing mitzvahs. That's baby stuff. Yes, it's true. He does that too. Yes. But his main thing is that your entire level of ruchnius, instead of being when you do good, way up here, why don't I daven like the biggest tzaddik in the world? He's talking to God, I'm talking to God. Hashem's not listening to me because of my sins. And we say Slach Lanu, and he says Slach Lanu, but now I'm talking to Hashem. Why don't I feel like I'm talking to Hashem? That's the main focus of the his skabrus Yetzer Hara, the overpowering of the Yetzer Hara, is in this Nakuda. And the reason it's important to know is, first of all, because if you're getting beat at the game of life and you don't even know, that's bad. But even more than that, it's not that hard. I mean, it's hard, but it's not that hard. You don't have to fast. You don't have to lift 1,000 pounds. You don't gotta go to the. You just focus. I'm not gonna let this Yetzer Hara lower my das level. And his job is litzamtzem, to constrict, ulevalvel, and to confuse. Datoi shelo oved Hashem. The das, the knowledge, the wisdom, which we know is the amount that we have recognition of God, he's going to try to constrict and confuse us. Many ways of doing that. Person going to shul, he runs late, maybe he did someone a favor, maybe somebody splashed him, maybe his pants got dirty, maybe this, maybe that. He goes running into shul, he didn't have time to prepare. He was doing the Avodas Hashem, but the Yetzer Hara was successful at minimizing and confusing him. Or he's confused about something and he can't separate, or separate from it, or someone's upset at him, or all of these things. The purpose is you are an Oved Hashem, but your Avodas Hashem level is so low, again, you're going to get schar from it. Don't stop going to shul. Don't go off the derech. And lefum tzara agra, we get paid for how hard it is, and Hashem is understanding of us. But you want to be a black belt, right? We could have all the forgiveness in the world of living a life as a white belt or a yellow belt or an orange belt, but we want to be a black belt. So he's telling you how to watch out for it. And what does he do by constricting and restricting us and confusing us? Al yedei zeh lahaktin. Through that, he's going to minimize, to make it smaller, ulahanmech, to lower, ulahagbil, and to constrict and to limit, as kol harama haruchnis ha'ilayi shel avidasai, the entire high level of our avodas Hashem. You're sitting down to say Tehillim. You could say Tehillim with an open mind, and you're connected with your das. Yetzer Hara doesn't want that. He's going to make something happen. And sometimes it'll cause us to not do the mitzvah. Sometimes it'll cause us to do the avera. Or sometimes we'll do it, but we're doing it on such a low level. What do you mean low level? I'm saying all the words. Concentration? It's not even concentration, because you can concentrate also and have low level das in hakaras habari. He's going to minimize your avodah. He's going to limit your avodah. He's going to squish it. He's going to make it so small that if you had a videotape of it, they're going to show you after 120, and you say, that's your mincha, wow. And you're going to be like, my mind wasn't in it. I didn't think about who I'm talking to. I could have done so much better, and I don't get it because I took off work to run to mincha. I stopped what I was doing to do the mitzvah. I did all the stuff, but I didn't do it with a mind. In other words, break it down. Break it down. Different parts of doing stuff. One part is the physical part. You take your lulav, I did the physical mitzvah. Then there's the saying the words. I said the words. And then there's trying to concentrate, which is very important, and it's hard to do. But there's a whole other thing happening here. In our mind, that nobody could see. In my mind. I once was davening recently, and I saw somebody, and I looked at his face, and I saw intensity. I saw an intense face, the way sweetly praying to God, and with a concentration, and he looked, I don't have a meter, I don't have an fMRI of his brain, he looked like he was in it fully. He looked like he mamish. I'm so jealous of that. And this is the Yetzer Hara. This is what he tries to do. Now, the next part is going to blow your mind. Yoiser mikol pitui vehiskabrus binyani sumeira taivis umidisrois oy beninias asay toiv. Even more than what we think he's busy with fully. More than he's trying to get you to sin. More than he's trying to get you to get into taivis and do bad stuff. More than he's focusing on giving you bad, evil character traits, ego, Give me some more. Anger, jealousy. That's a lot of our life. Says the Nesivas more than that. And even more than him trying to stop you from doing good. What is the Yetzer Hara? Question. What is the Yetzer Hara focusing his energy more on than all these things? Because before I learned this, I thought that's all he does. No. Turns out there's something he does even more that I didn't even know about. And that's what I'm sharing with you today for free. Noyetz Yetzer Hara es tziparnav v'moichai v'liboi shel Yehudi. The Yetzer Hara, the Satan, the evil, he digs in his claws. He digs in his claws into the mind and the heart of a Jew. Lehatridai ulevalbaloi b'nesivei hadas, to burden us and overwhelm us and confuse us in the paths of our mind, of our das. Litzamtzem ulahaktin, as kol tvisasei harachnius, in order to lower, minimize, restrict, constrict our entire level of grasping spirituality. Until our entire Avodas Hashem is small-minded. And this is remaining throughout all of the generations. Shemiskaber koyach hara lahaktin moicha v'liboy shel Yehudi. That the koyach hara, the evil powers, the power of evil is miskaber, strengthening himself, focusing on lahaktin moicha v'liboy shel Yehudi, to lower, to minimize my heart and my mind of a Jew. Sometimes you see somebody, he's davening to God, and he's on a bus or he's on a train, he's uncomfortable. So through that, the davening is weak. Nobody should see me. These are all examples. But the point of all of these examples are, because he just wants your davening to be Shenyoni avodas Hashem yo atzloi b'tzimtzum adas v'katnus hamoichin, that our avodas Hashem, the concepts of avodas Hashem that we're busy with anyway, it should be with constricted mind, not enlightenment of the mind, small-mindedness, katnus hamoichin, small-mindedness, umitoich, and from an aspaklaria she'ena me'ira, through a vision that is unclear. We know Moshe Rabbeinu was the ultimate. He had a spaklaria ha'me'ira. He saw Einoid Malvada, he saw Hashem, he spoke to Hashem, panim al panim. Let's call that 100. Where are we? It's like when you have glasses, right? You're wearing your glasses, you're putting them on, and they got dirty and smudged and fingerprints, and you can't really see clear. And that's what the Yetzer Hara wants us to do. He wants us to go through life without seeing Hashem clearly in our lives, even when we're doing a mitzvah, even when we're learning Torah. Everything that we're doing, he wants us to be small-minded. That's where the battle's at. And even in very high times, it could be a yontif, it could be a Shabbos. Shabbos is the whole day of Shabbos. And learn Nesivas Shalom on Shabbos of what it is. We don't even know what Shabbos is. That's why, I wrote a book in English called CPR, Navigation for Your Soul, based on Nesivas Shalom, about Shabbos. I wrote it for the teenager, but there are 40, 50, 60-year-olds who have no clue what Shabbos is. So it could be Dvarim Oim Demurum Shalaylam, it could be such an important thing. And yet, Datay Mitzumtzemes B'Yoser, our minds become even more constricted. And we may do the do, we may walk the walk, we may talk the talk, but we don't think the think. Keneged Zeh Hayim Mispal Rav HaKadosh Mirush, and the Heilige Rizhina, the Rizhina Rebbe was Mispal, he said, D'bayne Shalaylam, Ani Moichalach Olam Hazeh V'Olam Haba, I'm willing to forego my world, my Olam Hazeh, take it away from me, and my Olam Haba, and my world to come, Uvilvad. If only Shetar Eine Yisrael, that you should enlighten the eyes of Yisrael, of Klal Yisrael, of Jews. Shelo Yistayvavu Ali Admos Kebehema B'Lidas, that we shouldn't wander around this world like a behema without das. Which das? Let's break it down. How different are we than a cow? The cow wanders around He actually probably has more serenity than us, probably does not need prescription medication or therapy. And he does what he needs to do. He needs to go to work. He needs to find grass, right? He needs to get food. He needs to do other stuff. Okay? We are high-functioning cows. We are very high-functioning cows. We go to work. We don't make grass. Some people smoke grass, but we don't make grass. We have to support, but that's just going through the motions. That's what we are, the human cow. We're not going to do nothing. We're not dysfunctional. We're talking about functioning, high-functioning people, from people, erlich people, doing Torah mitzvahs. But yet we're wandering. We go into a yontif, we wander through it, we buy the Arba Minim, we do the shake, we do the Hashanas, the Shana Rabbah comes, we're doing everything. But yet we could be wandering on this earth like a behema without das. So again, it's not intellectual das. No human being, even a guy or a Jew or anybody, is not wandering around without a brain. We're not talking about intellectual brain. Das means hakaras habayre, to the degree that we have recognition of Hashem ein oid milvadoi. The Hashanas would be different. The Pesach matzah, I'm eating matzah, whether I understand it or not, it would be different. Everything we do would be different. Everything would be on a high level. Just like the yetzer of a person darkens our mind. What's the opposite of Aras Hadas? Of enlightenment is darkening our mind. We're not talking about you're stupid. Again, I'm going to keep on mentioning it because people forget. I'm not talking about you stupid. I'm not talking about you're forgetful. I'm not talking about you have whatever. And I'm not talking about Averis. I'm talking about my mind is dim. My mind is dark. I'm in shul. I'm davening. I'm doing. I'm whatever your mitzvahs are. But my level that I'm doing it for Hashem and Hashem is watching me and I'm doing avodas Hashem. My akaras habayre level is so low. Just like he strengthens himself, the Yetzer Hara fights us. This is the battle to darken our minds that we should not be zoicha to enlightenment of the mind. Kain miskaber beyoser. So too, even more, he empowers himself. He strengthens himself. Lahakif es ha'adam. He surrounds us with all kinds of pains and issues. Why? First of all, he hates us. Doesn't want us to do mitzvahs. He wants us to miss stuff and bad. He wants to make us depressed. But that's not really why. He really does all those things to make us busy and problems and issues. And you notice life is another issue and another issue and another issue. Why? Why so many issues? I want to go learn. I want to go daven. I want to be a good Jew. And I will. I'll do all those things. But you know what he benefited? Low level. Kedei sheyeh tarid umuvubal. So we should be overwhelmed. And we should be confused. We should not be zoicha to a moment to being able to have serenity. Yishav adas, calm mind. Ulabihiris, and clarity of my mind, of what I'm doing, what I'm experiencing. Because from that, Aras Hadas, it gives life in all inyanim. Our entire lives get uplifted. So why does he do this? So we should be busy. We should be so busy and running from one problem to the other thing and mixed up and confused. But what's the point of it? That we should not have serenity. We shouldn't have clarity. We should just go through the motions. And again, you got to do it. And we get schar for doing it. And especially in spite of all of that stuff. And we still run to mincha, shachris, marab, whatever it is. We still do the mitzvah. Good. But we're talking now about understanding that we can do it as a black belt. We have to work towards that. And you're busy and you're going and the guy comes, okay, you give him tzedakah. You did it, wow. And you get schar for it. But you can do it as a black belt. V'gamas eile, and listen what he says, very sad. Even those people that are zaycha, the few among us that really, really merited, v'chol she'ifas chayeyim hi kedusha. And really, honestly, all they want is kedusha. They broke out of the world. They're not interested in Gashmias. They're not interested in anything. They really want Kedusha. The Kirvas Elikim Yechpatzon, and their entire desire is really to be close to Hashem. Now, for us, that's our goal. Like that's amazing. But they don't get a free ride. They don't get a free ride. The Yetzer Hara goes to entangle them. And he goes ahead and he puts inside of their lives fogginess. So it's unclear. He doesn't give them an easy win. Oh, you just want to learn a daven, you just want to be close to Hashem? No, things are always going to go wrong. Things are always going to happen. Why? So that way when they're finally doing it, it's on a low level. Until their entire avodas Hashem is smitten, is hit, is broken, is damaged with a lack of clarity. And a person can come to the point where he doesn't even realize, what am I here for? A person can get so, he goes to Kail, he wants to sit and learn, and he gets this problem, and then this thing, and then one of the ways he lowers us, we do Averis, so we think, okay, I'm never going to be a Kaddish V'Tahar, and my mitzvahs are not worth anything to Hashem, which is false. Our Torah is not worth anything, false. He comes at us with all of this stuff. We could be so confused that I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know what Hashem wants from me. And through that, you think that's bad enough? No. Through that, al yidei kach koitzitz mimenu es kanfei ruchoi shelo yuchel lehis alois. How poetic. Painful and poetic. He snips the wings of his spirit so that he cannot soar. So he goes to that thing. He goes to that kumzitz. He goes to that tish. He's there physically. He's trying, but he's not there. He can't soar. In his mind, he's stuck down and he can't soar. Koitzetz mimenu as kanfei ruchoi shelo yuchel lehis alis. The Gedolei Olam already established that a person suffers from these complications, physical or emotional or psychological or financial complications, that the Yetzer Hara entraps him. Even more than all of the trying to convince us to do bad and to get us off the derech on any level and all of that. It's much more here. This is the ground zero. This is the war. When I learned this, I wasn't a baby. I was like 30, and I went to yeshiva, and I was like, nobody ever told me this. He's so right. And if I'm already there, and it's already Yom Kippur, or it's already Rosh Hashanah, or it's already davening, in 30 seconds, in 20 seconds, I can fix that. I can focus. I cannot let the darkness, when I'm at least doing mitzvahs. And that's the work, is to get there. And I'm not there. Tzaddikim are there. Tzaddikim are always 100% das. Das zu hakaras habare. So everything they do is connected. How sad it is for us when the Yetzer Hara causes through all these side things, and he causes us to do the mitzvahs and the avodas Hashem on a low level. But what happens when someone is zeicha? He merits to have clarity of the mind. It lights up his life. It lights up his road, his path. Going back to the beginning, he said, if you manage to acquire something called clarity of the mind without confusion, you are the wealthiest person in the world. There's nobody that has more than you do to have clarity.